Hey everyone, and welcome back to my 31 horror movies in October 2021 series. And we are up to day three today. And today we're going to go ahead and take a look at a movie that I watched for the first time for this review. It's part of my collection. It came out about 20 years ago, and for whatever reason, I hadn't seen it before. And that is from 2001, The Others, starring Nicole Kidman. So yeah, this is sort of a haunted house ghost kind of movie, which of course are one of my favorites. And my subgenres of horror, it's one or two with horror anthologies. They kind of go back and forth, but it's definitely at the top of my list in terms of most enjoyable, along with psychological horror too. That's number three, I would say. But let's just get into it. So The Others is a 2001 English language Spanish Gothic supernatural psychological horror film. That's a lot of adjectives to describe this film, but basically a gothic supernatural ghost psychological horror film is still a lot. The film's written, directed, and scored by Alejandro Amenabar. I'm glad I could get that name right. Um, so basically, the film it takes place in 1945, so like the end of World War II. And we're introduced to Grace Stewart, who awakens one day from a nightmare in the immediate aftermath of World War II. She lives in a remote country house in Jersey, a Channel Island formerly occupied by Germans. She's with her two young children, Anne and Nicholas, who have a rare disease characterized by photosensitivity. Grace hires three new servants: housekeeper Mrs. Bertha Mills, gardener Edmund Tuttle, and a mute girl named Lydia. Mrs. Mills explains to Grace that she worked in the same house many years before. When odd events occur at the house, Grace begins to fear there are unknown others, quote unquote others, present. Anne claims to have seen a group of people in the house several times: a man, a woman, an old woman, and a child called Victor, who claim that the house is theirs. After Grace hears footsteps and unknown voices, she orders the house be searched. She then finds a 19th century photo album of mourning portrait photographs, basically dead people in photographs. When Grace asks Mrs. Mills about the previous experience in the house, Mrs. Mills recounts that many left due to an outbreak of tuberculosis. At night, Grace witnesses a piano playing by itself and is convinced the house is haunted. She runs outside in search of the local priest to bless the house. Before leaving, Grace instructs Tuttle to check a small nearby cemetery to see if a family has been buried there with a little boy named Victor. Tuttle finds a cemetery but covers the gravestones with leaves and orders Mrs. Mills, who assures him that Grace will learn the reasons behind the unexplained events in due time. Outside, Grace runs into her husband Charles, who she thought had been killed in the war. Charles greets his children after a long absence, but is distant during his short stay at the house. Later, Grace checks up on her daughter Anne, whom she, whom she has left to play in a spare room. Instead, to her horror, Grace finds an old woman on the floor in the room wearing her daughter's communion dress, veil down. The old woman claims in Anne's voice, "I am your daughter." So yeah, that's a really good. That's the setup and the premise of this movie, and really takes us into the midway point of the movie. Cast wise, we have Nicole Kidman, of course, as Grace Stewart. Uh, Finola Flanagan as Bertha Mills. Christopher Eccleston as Charles. Uh, Alakina. I'm sure I'm butchering these names. I'm just going to say it up front. Anne Stewart's played by Alakina Mann. James Bentley as Nicholas Stewart. Alexander Vince as Victor. Eric Skies as Edmund Tuttle. And Elaine Cassidy as Lydia. Some of them I know I got right, but Alakina Mann, I think it is Anne Stewart. um, so yeah, sorry if I butchered those names, but it is a Spanish slash English horror film. So yeah, that's basically the setup of The Others. I'm in love with this movie. What can I say? I can't believe I went 20 years without watching it, especially somebody like me as I've gotten into horror just in the last few years, really. And having haunted houses and ghost kind of movies be one of my favorite subgenres. I should have watched this movie much sooner, but that's the past. This is the present. This is a fantastic, awesome, superb ghost haunted house story, and it's perfect for this time of the year too, with being the month of October as part of my 31 horror movies of October for Halloween. So let's just get into the pros and the very few cons that I have for it. First of all, you have to talk about the look of this movie. It's a beautifully shot movie with great cinematography, uh, a great setting, and especially with the use of light and darkness that they use within the movie, the time period where you have like the lighted candle lanterns and stuff that they use, and but they're also trying to keep the house and the rooms dark because the kids are sensitive to light with this photosensitivity they have. Just really effective. The way the film looks, it's phenomenal. Um, this movie doesn't have any cheap jump scares. The one false scare that they have is it might be the best one I've ever seen. It's just magnificently done. I'm gonna try not to give spoilers, just like I'm not in any of my reviews for this 31 horror movies in October series, especially with this one because I have to be really careful. But there's a part I would say it's before the midway part of the movie when Nicole Kidman's character is starting to do her investigation with the noises that her children are telling her about, and that she starts to hear as well. And she's in a certain room, and again, the use of light and dark that they use in this movie gives you a really false but a very effective false scare. That's about as much as I can say about it. Um, Another pro, the characters in this movie are really well written and well developed. I mean, the first half hour of the movie is world building. It's setting us up for who these characters are, the world they live in. Very effectively done. The acting is superb in this movie, especially by Nicole Kidman. I think it's her best movie. Um, she should have been nominated for an Oscar. She was for a Golden Globe, I know, but she's just phenomenal in this movie. It has to be the best performance that she's given in any movie that I've seen Nicole Kidman in. But really, all the characters are great, even the two kids. And I'm somebody that's not crazy about kids in horror movies because they just don't always work. They're not believable. But in this movie, particularly El, Ella, Alakina, man. Again, is I'm just going to say Anne Stewart's character. The actress that plays Anne Stewart is phenomenal, and she's got a lot to do in this movie. So she has to be good in order to be believable as a child performer. Um, James Bentley as Nicholas. He doesn't have quite as much to do, but I thought even he was effective as kids go. But Alakina Man, there, I think I got it. It's Anne Stewart. Very good as a child actress. They do a wonderful job, both of them. This obviously, if you've seen the movie, you've heard about the movie. It has one of the great horror movie twists of all time revealed at the very end. It works so well, especially when you go back and rewatch the movie. There's no cheating that goes on. It's not one of those twist endings where, wait a minute now, when I rewatch the movie, that twist doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. With this movie, that's not the case at all. Everything's flawlessly done leading up to the twist. There's no cheats. Everything fits into the ending twist that they use. Um, Another pro, the movie's wonderfully directed by Alejandro Amenabar. He had a vision and he executed it flawlessly, in my opinion. He also did the score in this movie, which it's rare for the same person that wrote and directed a movie to also have scored the movie. I think John Carpenter might be the only one that comes to mind from the original Halloween. But it's just flawlessly directed, one of the better directed horror movies that I've seen. And the score is really good. It ratchets up the tension, which is really important to this kind of movie as well. When they're exploring rooms and stuff, and certain scenes happen. Fantastic setting and atmosphere throughout the movie. I really can't talk high praise enough about the atmosphere both outside the mansion and inside the mansion is just phenomenal. The fog that they have that's sort of surrounding this mansion as she goes and stumbles upon her husband midway through the movie. Just very, very effective, fantastic atmosphere and tone in this movie. The grounds outside the movie with the gravestones and everything, the trees in the background of the mansion, inside the house, the different rooms with the darkness. And yeah, if you can't tell, I pretty much want to have a love affair with this movie. That's how much I like it. But it really brings you into this atmosphere, it really brings you into this movie as a viewer. Um, And yeah, and then another pro, it's just got a great unfolding mystery, the first half of the movie that takes you in different directions with a fantastic climax, a fantastic twist. But before we get to the twist, like I said, there's a lot of movies that are kind of like, where's this movie going? And they give you a big twist at the end, and you go back and rewatch it and realize, wow, that's kind of cheap. That doesn't work. This movie isn't like that at all. Every point of this movie has a reason for being there. There's no wasted scenes, there's no wasted space. Everything has a purpose, and it all fits into the twist at the end. It's a great mystery. Like I said, the middle part of the movie. Um, and there, yeah, like I said, no wasted moments in this movie. Everything has its purpose. So yeah, if you can't tell, I really like this movie. Those are all the pros that I have. I don't really have any cons for this movie. In fact, I had to change cons to mixed, and a couple of mixed things are. And I was really nitpicking with these here. But the movie's not overly scary. I mean, it isn't like The Conjuring kind of scary. It is effectively creepy though. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't it's more effectively creepy than it is flat out scary, if that makes sense to you. But again, that's not a con. For some people, it might be just like for some people, the fact that there's no kills or blood or gore in this movie. I'm not even going to bring that up as a con because I don't care about that. That's not what makes an effective horror movie, particularly when you're talking about the ghost haunted house subgenre. Um, Another sort of mixed, not really a con, but a mixed, is it kind of took a twist from another well-known, popular movie that was made a few years before this one. I'm not going to tell you what that movie is because I'm going to try not to have spoilers, as I said with this review. Maybe at some point I'll do a video once we get past October. That'll be a spoiler-filled review for this movie, but it does kind of steal a little bit but not really. I think it's unique enough in its own right that it might have copied a little bit of an idea, but it's not a complete ripoff, is what I'm trying to say. And but I'm not going to give that movie away because that'll let you know the twist of the movie. If you've seen the movie, you know what movie I'm talking about, and you know what twist I'm talking about. And then there's one little plot point that I had to think about, and I almost wish I hadn't even brought this up because when the dad comes, he tells the daughter whispers something to him, and then he tells the wife in a later scene or two about something involving a pillow, which doesn't entirely make sense because if this daughter told her dad about this pillow, once you've seen the movie and you understand how that fits into everything, wouldn't the daughter character kind of know what was going on more than she was revealing? But actually, if you think about it, not necessarily. So I probably shouldn't even have this on here with my notes. It'll make a lot more sense if you've seen the movie or once I do a review a few months down the road here, a spoiler filled review as opposed to a trying to keep it as a spoiler free review as part of my 31 horror movies of October. But that's really all I've got. Like I said, those are nitpicky, probably the most nitpicky cons or mixed parts of this movie that I could come up with. There really aren't any cons in this movie. Let's just be honest about it. This is a fantastic, fantastic, atmospheric, good characters, well acted, ghost haunted house kind of horror movie. I mean, I just can't praise it enough. It's a 10 out of 10 on my rating. I can't wait to rewatch it again. Um, yeah, 10 out of 10. Just fantastic, fantastic haunted house movie. Everything from the setting to the tone to the score to the directing to the acting to the effective creepiness of the movie and the twist at the end that all fits in with the story. Other than that, it isn't that good, though, besides all those things. So, 10 out of 10 for me. Go ahead and comment down below. Check out Brian's Horror Corner. Subscribe to that channel to see future videos as part of this series, as well as other horror movie reviews and other horror movie content. Please hit the little notification bell to see when these videos drop. But comment down below on what you guys think of the others. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you not only watch it, but buy this. This should be part of anybody's horror Blu-ray collection or just horror collection. It doesn't have to be Blu-ray. I have it on Blu-ray, and it's great sound, great look cut to the movie. So those are my thoughts on the others, guys. Thanks for checking out this review, and stay tuned for the rest of my 31 horror movies in October series 2021. And thanks for watching. Stay scared. Bye.